How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. I am here with my fiance.
Thermites.
This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards and trans rights supporting channel. If you're not supporting that shit, get the fuck off this channel. This is What If, Season 1, Episode 4, which is What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? What does that mean?
Is that metaphorical or is that literal?
It's gotta be metaphorical, right? Otherwise he'd be dead.
Like, if it's not metaphorical, then I can only see it as, like, what if he became Iron Man?
I was gonna say, what if he became more Iron Man than he already is? He is already basically just Tony Stark.
Yeah.
What if he was more like Tony Stark?
But how would that work? Because Doctor Strange, like, him crashing the car definitely happens after Iron Man 1. Like, safely after Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
So, like, is that just a thing hospitals do now? Did he crash into Tony? Like,
maybe?
Because if it's more metaphorical, then, like...
What the hell does that mean even?
Yeah. Because it's also his heart instead of his hand. Actually... I guess in that case that would be, like, the crash is what humbles him and makes him try to be a little less of a piece of shit, but he's still a massive piece of shit. So,
yeah,
I guess
why does he go to Carmitage?
Yeah.
Because
he
doesn't have much of a heart to begin with.
No.
He's the most asshole of all the assholes in the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah, like, why would he go on a journey at all if his hands were not hurt? Because if so, it would have to just be, he keeps on being himself forever, really. Like, he would just never change. This
is also the first one that's like, what if this character, something happened to them, rather than like, what if new characters had to take up the mantle of whatever. So, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
If it's metaphorical, they'll got to really sell me on how he had a heart in the first place before they even do what if he didn't have a heart.
Yeah.
I need first the what if Doctor Strange had a heart. But let's jump into this. If you want the full length, check out the page down below. $4 a month. If you want early access, also check out the page down below. $4 a month.
Like a carnival barker.
Like an auctioneer. Let's check it out. Okay, very different one from our normal ones.
I mean, I want to say right off the start, it's so cool that there is an arc to this. Like we said for the first two, like, man, these seem like they're all just gonna be, this is, like, the world would have been so much better with these changes.
Yeah.
But with the Watcher specifically telling us at the start, now, I've shown you some ones that are, that are pretty good, but here's a real fucked up one.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very clear, like, What If has a storyline to it.
Yeah, and I do really like that as well. The tentacle thing coming back.
Yeah. Like that immediately makes the, the Red Skull thing so much scarier. Because before, I was just like, okay, so he figured out how to, like, open a door to, like, this random planet.
Yeah.
But now we know it's like, no, he was just something like an eldritch abomination.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, something that was, like, so much power, he had to spend centuries getting power to get that.
Yeah, until he was strong enough to not even fight it, but cut off a couple of tentacles and then absorb those.
Yeah. But yeah, how did you feel about it overall?
I thought that was so cool, because, yeah, the other What Ifs have also been very much like, we're going to remix all the stuff that you would know up to this point. Like, should this thing have changed, these things would have happened, but in different ways. This is the first one that is doing the big, like, the difference between an imaginary story and another universe is that between universes, things should be more or less the same. Like, if in a What If an alien species is introduced, that species should still exist in 616.
I see what you're saying.
Unless there is a specific thing in that story that says, and now because of this action, this species was, like, created. Or, like, time was altered or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, everything we saw in this What If, like, all the new places and new types of magic, and, like, the beings from, other dimensions that he was absorbing, those all have to exist in, the sacred timeline.
I wouldn't necessarily say it has to exist in 616 because that's so far away. Like, these are all, universes that are way closer to the MCU universe than 616.
True. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right.
But yeah, because I wouldn't necessarily say that all this stuff has to exist in 616.
Yeah.
These are all just universes that are close to 1999999. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's like 19999 essentially.
Oh, I thought you were saying 19 nines.
Oh no!
Jesus Christ, that's a long number.
But no, it's either a 5-digit or 6-digit number.
Gotcha.
But yeah, But anyways, I guess the point I was making is that, like, all of this stuff happens, like, all of the new stuff introduced should also exist in the MCU or in, like, realms next to the MCU, depending on how this shit works.
Yeah.
And that, makes me so excited, because that is a clear, like, yeah, the what-ifs are non-canon, but they can still say stuff about the world. They can say stuff about each other, and that is all still, like, somewhat, like, not canon, but they're all pieces in play in some way.
Mm-hmm. And I do think it is fair to still say the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
Because, like, it is, for us and the TVA, just the timeline you like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. That's what all sacred timeline is. The timeline we enjoy the most.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I do like that, of course... It is... How do I put this? I appreciate that this was not a... like, as much as I do want the big what happens when you mess with time stuff, I also do really like the fact that this is a specific, like, because this is a, like, fixed point in time, you can't mess with that specifically. And so, like, the answer we're getting is not a, like, you can't just, save someone's life. It is specifically the tragedy of Doctor Strange cannot save this one person's life. That is absolutely impossible, except we as the audience know it is not, in fact, impossible.
Yeah, like, again, our sacred timeline, it does not happen.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, it is the furthering of the, like, all the rules we know about the sorcerers are suggestions, not really rules.
Yeah.
Like, they are what the Ancient One thinks are the rules, but we have seen with our own eyes that is not true.
Yeah. And at the same time, I can understand why, like, if this is a possibility, at all, why you would then have, like, a very wide margin in which to be like, listen, you can't do any of this shit, even if some of this is technically possible. Like, the moment you try it, you are risking the possibility that, like, for example, the person you love is a absolute points, and because of that, all this shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. Which is still, like... it's weird that it is an absolute, because the absolute point is when he loses her, that's what brings him to Carmitage, makes him the sorcerer, but that's also not true. So, like, was it the Ancient One killing her all those times? Or what else was that? Like, why was the majority of the deaths being shot to death? Like,
were they being shot to death?
They showed, like, the, like 8 different versions of the guy shooting her.
Ah, true.
I guess I would say the majority is the car crash.
Yeah, the majority is the car crash. That's why I was confused.
Okay, yeah. But if he doesn't go down that road with the car and everything like that, then the majority of the time is even, like, being shot to death.
Yeah.
Like, that feels so specific. It wasn't even like, here's a montage of different ways she's dying.
Yeah.
It's like, if you leave her alone, she dies via, like, what was, like, an explosion or something.
Like a gas explosion.
Gas explosion. If you take her on the road, a car death. Anything else, shot to death.
Yeah.
It's so specific. And, I mean, I don't know if it's the case or not, but I distinctly remember my reaction to the original movie being like, oh, this is clearly somebody did this to him. And I don't think it ever came back up. So, I guess it wasn't, but I don't know.
Who knows?
It still all just looks so intentional. Especially in this, where, like... There was no careless driving in this. It is just the car went out of its way to constantly kill her. And it's like, why? What's happening?
Yeah. Like, is it the Final Destination thing? Is it just, like, there is no possible way, like, by the fate of the universe, there's no way for it to survive, and so the universe is, like, folding in on itself?
Yeah. It's so different. Like, the Final Destination stuff is always like the coincidentally an accident will kill you eventually.
Yeah, it's never just some guy.
Yeah,
or, like, if it is some guy, it is one of, like, many, many, many in the movie.
And a big coincidence.
Yeah.
It has never been like and now this person is going to hunt you down and shoot you in the head. But yeah, overall, wasn't a big fan of it. There's a lot of stuff I really like in it, but overall, not a big fan.
All right, because now I would definitely say that I love this episode.
Yeah, get out all your everything you love about it, because I'm not going to be adding much to that, so I'm trying to leave it to you.
But yeah, I'm just a big fan of the, like, what if something really fucked up happens? And so I am a sucker for the, like, especially in a universe, in a place where this isn't, like, an absolute for every character. I am a sucker. It's catnip to me. The big, like, for this one person, everything's going to be fucked up forever.
Yeah. I'm a big sucker for that, too. I don't know, this does not hit me in that way.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, because also, like, wasn't expecting there to, like, even though we have the Watcher in the background in the other episodes, was not expecting a character to ever acknowledge the Watcher.
Yeah.
Was not expecting to get the classic, like, a lot of the Watcher tales or, like, you know, what ifs have some layer of the Watcher saying, now I could have stopped this, but I chose not to. Really didn't think we were going to get one of those. Like, I really thought they were going to just do a blanket, the Watcher isn't strong or a character.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a mouthpiece through which we can do these stories. But the fact that they had to bring up the specific, like, yeah, it's not even that he can't do it here. It is that, no, he could do it, but he's got his rule, and, you know, this is, you know, furthering his own belief. Like, if anything was going to convince him otherwise, this is a big poison pill against that. Of, like, no, I've seen, you know, at least a timeline, if not many, where Stephen Strange does that to himself, and now he's whatever the fuck that was. It seems like he's just created a crystal of reality that he will just exist in forever amidst all the entire multiverse. It's like, how many of those fucking exist?
Well, wouldn't be against the multiverse, just his own universe, which has 2 timelines in it? Well, how does that... What?
That's a big one, because, yeah, this is stating that, you know, in Loki, we had to end up with the big, like, okay, so a timeline is a universe, because this is, you know...
They explicitly say
the creation of the multiverse.
In episode 1.
Yeah. So what does it mean if you have a single universe with 2 timelines in it?
I don't know.
Like, the only way that makes sense to me is if it is, like... If it is essentially 2 universes, but she just, like, put a bubble over the universe before it's split in half.
Maybe.
So it is a, like... So these are still more connected and they can't, like, affect anything else.
How did it also split where it did? Like, she splits it after he travels in time, but in the past, but it splits... Like, it splits at that moment in time, but also way in the future. Like, it's not like from that point it splits, and then we get to the point where, you know, he's like, well, I'm not doing this, and now it's catching up with me, or whatever. Because also, time don't work that way.
No,
It had been centuries.
Yeah, it's more of a TVA view of it. Like, she was able to go, like, no, I'm going to take the point of the crash, essentially. I'm going to make it so in one of these you get super obsessed, in another one you still go through some level of obsession, but eventually you hit the point of going, no, I'm not going to keep doing this.
But the crack is shown to be, like, I'm going to split you, and the split is like she's doing this at the crash.
Yeah.
And the split is, now there's the version of you that's at the crash, and now there's the version of you that is never gone back in time.
Right.
But we don't, it's not like I'm splitting you and now this version's going to go off and become obsessed with saving her and this version's going to go off and become not obsessed with saving her.
Yeah.
It is like, I'm splitting you right here and one is going to stay at this time, but the other split is going to jump ahead years in time. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not looking for an actual answer. It's just... I feel like Loki has already made me vastly fucking confused as to what the fuck timelines, universes, time travel, any of that shit's going on in the MCU. And now this has made it even more complicated. They've both contradicted each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to believe anymore.
We need the Watcher to sit down and tell us, listen, this is the way it is.
I don't even know if I believe, like, the Watcher in this one is also interesting because it seems like he is a multiversal Watcher.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he knows, he can see into other multiverses, which does not seem to be true for the Watcher that I know of from the comics, which is just a alien from 616. But... yeah, so that's also very different in that regard. But so I wouldn't even fucking trust the Watcher, to be fair.
Fair.
I mean, I would never trust the Watcher in any universe. Any universe where I see the Watcher, it's like, number one person I don't trust is you. But yeah, the only also like the confusion around that stuff is whatever. Honestly, the main reason why I just don't like this is because one, not really interested in Doctor Strange.
Sure.
Two, I just do I would honestly say the type of story I hate the most is a story in which it is this person has to die.
Right.
Like that is just across all my reactions and all my life that has been the type of story I hate the most. I can never just care about anything at that point.
Right.
Like, it's like the reverse of like it is as if there's no more stakes anymore for me,
Sure.
which sounds counterintuitive,
Mm-hmm.
but like a universe in which people go, I'm just gonna have to let this person die, takes away all the stakes for me.
I can understand that. Because, yeah, like, in anything else, your answer would be like, okay, so if this person's fated to die, then you have to figure out, like, that is the problem, and so you need to find a solution to it. And so having a problem is inherently the, like, there is no solution to this. You just have to accept that the problem cannot be resolved. I can understand how that's, you know, that's kind of the opposite of a story.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it has a lot to do with the character motivations as well, of like, you know, I love when characters are grieving and going through trauma and everything like that, but when you have to just go like, I'm not going to bring this person back to life via my own volition, I just don't like any character that could do that.
Sure.
Like, it makes me go like, I just, what is there to like about you anymore? Like, if you're not willing to risk the end of the universe to save the person you love, I don't care about you.
I mean, I think that's why I actually really like this episode. Because we don't end this on a, and Steven defeats his evil side and reveals like, alright, so now I understand why I can't save my wife.
Yeah.
It is a hard, no, that one is the one that wins.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like...
just, like, it is a hard, like, he did pull it off, but the answer is, like, yeah, but you did sacrifice all of reality to do this.
And she died anyway.
I mean, that is it. Like, she was reality.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah. My problem isn't with the, like, oh, and then that wins in the end every time.
Okay.
Just in a, like, you know, not a big fan of it. Like, in Inhumans, there's a big, you know, thing going on about that. But it doesn't end with, like, and now we need to kill this person.
Right.
But it was still just like, I don't like this kind of story at all. I don't like this being brought up as a thing.
Sure.
It's just, yeah, I hate stories like that. Period. Doesn't matter how it ends up or whatever. Just, the moment it gets brought up, I'm like, and I'm out. And I'm out.
Fair.
Which, I mean, definitely goes into why a huge reason why I didn't like Doctor Strange in the first place. Of just the, I hate stories with we can't time travel.
Yeah.
Or we can't do the thing that we can do.
Right.
It's just so boring to me. It feels like a cop-out in writing.
Sure.
But anyway, that's just a overall thing I don't like in every story. But yeah. What else did you like about this one? Like, I thought the animation was great in this. I loved the fight. I wish other Doctor Strange fights were like that.
Yeah, like, one of the big stories of the original Doctor Strange is that, like, the first thing they ever shot was the fight in the hospital. And I've been wondering the whole time, like, ever since. I understand why you would come up with the concept and go, this is really dope. But I feel like that is what fucked up Doctor Strange for me. Because it's a fight that doesn't really follow its rules.
No.
And it is just, it feels like it thinks it's more mind-bendy than it is. And that then blossoms out to a lot of the other fights. And it's just not something that really works for me. And I know, like, Multiverse of Madness is almost certainly going to do the same thing, because that is what Doctor Strange is.
Yeah.
It'd be very hard to do something otherwise unless you were faced with something like, Ragnarok's the only example I can think of something in the MCU where they did a very hard, we're just going to shift what this whole character and tone is like, because because everyone hated the first two. But everything else has been a hard, like, even if we want to do something different, we're going to maintain some of the tone of the original. Like, we have to acknowledge at least the spirit of it to some extent. And so, like, I just have to accept Doctor Strange is never going to have God-tier choreography to me. Still very, hopeful for Multiverse of Madness. But I just gotta accept that something like this is the only way I'm going to get some really cool Doctor Strange fights that appeal to me.
Same.
Because, I love the way in which these fights were, like, a little mind-bendy, but more just like, here are the really mind-bendy set pieces, and then here's some very understandable choreography that looks really, really cool, that isn't focused on all the, like, the fucking reflections in the background.
Yeah. And I think the Doctor Strange choreography is like, generally pretty good in, like, the comics and everything like that. So, again, I have such a skewed view on that, because I'm reading so insanely old comics, but it's still, the choreography is, like, in all the early comics that I'm reading, Doctor Strange is, like, up there with some of the highest choreography. That and Captain America are, like, the two things that have the best choreography. So, I would like to see more fights with better choreography and stuff. Also, in that regard as well, when I originally watched Doctor Strange and, just his appearances in other movies and everything like that, number one thing I disliked about him is the thing that a lot of people dislike about him, which is that he feels exactly like Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
But I was always like, there's not much you can do about that if that's just how it was. Like, of course you're going to have some characters in the comics that are very similar when you have this many characters. And then I get to him in the comics and it's like, oh, no. Why did they do this? They just did this to make him more like
Tony Stark.
Like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Like, this was a wholly MCU thing. So wild.
Yeah, like what a lot of people bring up when they do these were already the same in the comics, is just the idea of what if there was a guy who had money and then he got hurt?
Yeah.
And then he became a superhero. But that is such a, it's a complaint you can only make if you haven't read the comics. Because when you read them, it's immediately like, no, it sounds like that if you say it in one sentence, but if you look at it with your eyeballs, it's very different.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just why did you make him so young? Like, he's an old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's also just so normie core. Like, he's the most normie of all the MCU Avengers.
Yeah. And
they really play it up a little bit more in here with the Armani suit and the car and all that. And they're going to, he's getting a little bit weirder in the MCU. He's starting to get a little weirder, but you should really have upped the weirdness way before he even becomes Doctor Strange.
Yeah, because we already do the flash forward when he's learning all the stuff from the library.
Yeah.
In the movie, canonically, that is when you could have made the change into, and now he's way more casual about weird shit. But they kept it as a hard no. He has to be the audience surrogate for all this shit, even though
he feels like the sidekick.
Yeah, as many people have said, it feels like Wong is the main character because Wong has an understanding of what's going on, like you would imagine the Sorcerer Supreme to be. The only time they really made him, feel kind of above things is in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
But that's such a wholly different kind of Doctor Strange.
It still is so different from the comics version.
Yeah. Even there, that was more of just we don't know what Doctor Strange is like. What if he's just really weird?
Doctor Strange in the comics is dude who's already pretty weird suddenly gets all the knowledge of the universe and then of course instantly becomes an insanely different person and it's just goes from hey my name is Joe to just I am Vishanti, I can't believe this, Harry what's up, hold on. That, why you don't have that energy to make him so different from everybody else?
Yeah. Because honestly, it feels really weird that you can't go to Thor for the Shakespearean wacko energy, and you can't go to Doctor Strange for the Shakespearean wacko energy. Nobody has that in the MCU. Even though that is fundamentally it would make them feel different.
Yeah.
There's so many choices that are just we could make this character feel extremely different, but we will not. We refuse to.
It's upsetting, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, nice just having a very different sort of cast because Doctor Strange is very much in his own little bubble.
Yeah, it makes sense to get a what if for Doctor Strange specifically because he's so unconnected from everything else that if you want to cover a wide spectrum of stuff, you got to do something there. And there's just so much you could do with Doctor Strange stuff in general.
Oh yeah.
Just not a big... I was man, I'm glad we're getting more stuff with the Sorcerer stuff. But, at the end of the day, still not enough to make me give a shit about the Sorcerers.
Yeah.
It's wild that we have magic and chaos magic. The magic has basically no rules except, certain rules you can't time travel. Why? Who knows? All the rules we do have for magic... We don't know why those rules exist.
Right.
Then chaos magic, we have a lot of rules for that are all strict and can't be broken and are all followed to the T.
Oh my.
Insane. It's crazy that we could track the rules of chaos magic and I fully understand the chaos magic.
Think about that.
Don't understand the magic in any way.
Oh my god. I
don't understand one bit about how the magic works. I can't tell you one thing about how it works.
You gotta do this.
Why?
Sure, because even for chaos magic, we have gotta do the runes, and the runes determine what your space is.
Like, yeah, there's some rules with the chaos magic that I can attach to, but there's nothing with the magic that makes any sense. Like, there's things they can do with magic that I go, oh, they do this to make a portal, but it's like, what is that? What is any of this? What's the yellow stuff? What's happening? But yeah, what else to talk about? Like, do you think any of this stuff's gonna come up Multiverse of Madness?
I think so, because, like...
Make your guess now.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my guess of... I don't think evil Doctor Strange is gonna be the villain of Multiverse, but also, I don't have a good villain in mind for Multiverse of Madness, to be fair. Apart from, of course, the classic, you know it, you love it.
Dark Mirror.
Oh, I forgot his name. God damn it. Mephisto.
What? Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay.
No.
I thought you were just talking about the classic, we're doing this character and it's a Dark Mirror, this other character, our protagonist.
No, I just mean that, like, from before I knew anything about Phase 4, I already knew, like people were already kind of buzzing about how Mephisto was going to be the villain in every single Disney Plus show, and then, of course, that would lead up to Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, with no possible proof. And so I've still got that in the back of my head to say, like, maybe that's what's happening. But somehow, I feel like if Mephisto was the villain in Hawkeye, I would have heard about it at some point. I feel like if Mephisto existed in anything, actually, I feel like I would know about it because people keep on guessing it. But, yeah.
I've finally gotten attached to, like, the MCU is fully unpredictable. It's taken me a long time to, for better or for worse. You will not possibly be able to predict what they're going to do because they know what everybody's predicting and they're going to do the opposite, even if it's less satisfying or makes less sense.
Yeah.
They will do it. Sometimes it makes it more satisfying. It all depends.
Yeah, but I guess right now I'm gonna put my stake on it because I've said before, I do think something from What If is gonna end up in Multiverse of Madness as just a, like, I think that'd be very cool as a, like, look, you know the thing we did in animation? It's in live action now. Yeah. So I'm gonna make my guess be that Doctor Strange is going to come back in Multiverse of Madness. Okay. Like, it's gonna be the big, like, like, if you just watch the movies, you can kind of write it off as a, well, I guess there had to be a universe where there's an evil Doctor Strange, sure. But then this is the secret stealth backstory.
See, no, I feel like I'm onto their tricks now, and I know that they're doing this that way people will think that's going to be the villain in Multiverse of Madness. So they'll put all their energy theorizing into that, and then when it actually comes out, they won't know the actual big thing.
You might have taken the super MCU pill. You might be on 7 levels of MCU, and I'm still on 4.
Which I do appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it makes viewing it like we do, where we don't know anything, and we're just like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing instead, or like whatever. But like at the same time, there's always something cathartic about doing a big fuck you to anybody who is like theorizing about stuff that isn't released yet.
Oh yeah. And like now we're living in it, whereas before, like in a lot of our discussions, I had to tell you about the 4D chess. It just sounded insane every single time. But now we're finally living in the 4D chess.
Oh, I love it. I do appreciate it. There's a lot, like, I more appreciate stuff where it's just like, oh, the creators just don't look blanketly at anything anybody are saying, and they're just gonna do what they were already gonna do. Yeah. But for something this big, it's nice to get a big fuck you for looking at this shit before it's out.
But yeah, I don't think I have that much to say about the episode itself after that, though. We've been talking about, like, we do have the introduction of absolute points, which are different from Nexus events.
I don't care. They're making me, anytime they mention the multiverse or timelines now, I'm gonna get a reaction just like, oh no, dear God. I'm now worried for No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness. Like, I was really hyped for him, but now it's like, how could they possibly pull it out and it be good after Loki and this? They have shown they don't know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to multiverses and timelines.
Which is so weird because, like, that was the big, like, not multiverses, but, like, part of how the MCU has worked, especially with, you know, Infinity War and Endgame, was the big, like, we had to consult with everyone and pull everyone in, and you don't really feel that as a big, like, holy shit, this must have taken everything to coordinate, but it is just sort of a background, like, nothing contradicts itself. Yeah. And so it's really weird that, like, Kevin didn't, like, pull out a blackboard right next to his weekly showing of Superman and do the big, like, okay, we're gonna write out exactly how time travel really works, and if we want to do any red herrings, we'll do that, but we need to have a base, like, this is absolutely the facts, this is how it works. Because I feel like if that existed, we would have a little bit of a hint at it.
You'd think.
Because there's so many points in which they could have, just had someone go like, okay, here are the base rules, by the way.
What is, just put on a blackboard, what is another universe? Answer. What is it?
What a universe! Give me a definition. I just wish Mobius had sat down and done the big, like, all right, here's your introduction into the TVA. Here's some of our terminology. Because I don't know what most of the terminology means.
I don't know. Like, it is wild that we are in the age of multiverse. Everything's doing fucking multiverse now.
Yeah.
Everything under the sun is doing multiverse. And the thing that is doing it the worst is the MCU. Like, the worst is in the most confusing. Like, the thing is in, like, if I don't understand this, there's no way a mom understands this. There is no way any random viewer has an idea of what the fuck is happening. Or it is just the, like, you're just gonna go with what they say in each thing, and you're not really thinking about an overall how it all connects in any way.
Yeah.
You could look at Loki and just take what the TVA is saying as gospel, and just be like, I guess there is a sacred timeline. Or you could watch this and be like, I guess there is an absolute point. But, like, and not think about how much it all contradicts, like, this contradicting Loki, or, like, Loki contradicting everything, or whatever.
But yeah, I have more faith that we'll know what this meant later on. Because again, it seems like we're going to do a little bit of connection between the what-ifs.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we have more of a chance of the Watcher sitting down and just looking me in the eye and saying, okay, this is how universes work. As opposed to anything live action.
Or if Spider-Man, I mean, now, No Way Home has the benefit of having 3 geniuses doing multiverse shit. So maybe between 3 geniuses, we'll be able to understand what the fuck is happening. Between 3 geniuses and multiverse of madness. I mean, to be fair, this is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange doesn't know what the fuck time travel or universes is, so I don't trust him. Anything Doctor Strange says at this point, I cannot trust. Spider-Man is the only character now that I will trust to know what is fucking happening.
Oh no!
That's how
How we come to this?
Maybe, like, Fury as well. If Fury also says something, maybe I'll believe it, which is crazy, because I don't believe anything else Fury would say.
Oh, boy. I'm putting all my faith in the Watcher.
Putting all my faith in Mysterio.
Oh, no!
Mysterio's right all along.
Oh, no!
But no, if the Watcher explains something at the end of this, maybe. But even then, as I said, I don't trust Watcher in any universe.
Fair enough. I can't fault you for that.
He lies every time I've ever seen him. But yeah, a cool concept for an episode. I like, the action stuff, and, I enjoyed the stuff I enjoyed, and I didn't like the stuff I didn't like.
Here's my question. Rather than, like, what we did in episode 1, where we're like, what are some what-ifs? Instead, what do you think the tone of the later what-ifs is going to be like? Like, now we know that the Watcher started us off with, like, here's some nice ones. And now here's a real fucked up one, like...
I'm gonna guess the next one is gonna be the one I know about, which I can't believe has taken this long.
Okay.
It's like, whenever I see anything of What If, this is the one I see.
Really?
It's I don't know what it would be called, but it's something that I just have known about from the comics for a long time.
Okay.
When I heard they were doing What If, I thought the whole show was gonna be this.
Really?
And, like, anytime I've ever seen any promotional stuff for What If, it's been that.
Because, yeah, I will say 100% the only promotional stuff I've seen of What If is the Captain Carter image. That was like a banner on Disney Plus, like, when it came out.
Okay.
And this isn't even a thing I know. I just know that when What If was coming out weekly, Hot Topic was also putting out weekly merch. I haven't seen any of it. I just know that as a thing.
I didn't know that.
Like, they did a new drop for every episode. Which makes sense now, seeing the episodes and seeing, like, there's always at least a character, and there's, like, a thing where you could be like, what if, this thing, or this symbol, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume everybody, if people are, like, going, like, since episode 1, like, which one does he know? What is it? That's gonna be crazy to me. Because it feels ubiquitous, the entire thing.
Okay.
Again, I truly thought the entire show was going to be this thing.
Okay.
Because it would make sense. Also, I don't know anything about what it is in the comics, but I thought it would make sense if the whole thing was that. I'm glad it's not, but I was also like,
What
that
could
makes
it
sense for that
be?
being the first animated thing. Like, you know, you could do it in live action, but why not do it in animation? But either way, that's what I'm going to get to next.
Okay.
To follow this sort of theme.
Hmm.
Then I imagine maybe like this is the halfway point of What If, I believe, unless there's 10 episodes.
I think it's 10 episodes. We can look at the number.
I don't. You look away because you're gonna be able to read the titles really fast. You know I suck at
Yeah.
reading. There is 9.
9.
So yeah, there's 9.
Huh.
So we're almost halfway through.
Okay.
But so this is like a slight turning point.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think we're gonna get mostly downer ones.
Okay.
I mean, the last one was also a pretty downer one as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we only had 2 upbeat ones. I wonder if we're gonna get more. I don't know, but yeah. Any other predictions you want to throw out there for what a What If might be?
Because yeah, I agree with you. I think we started off with the light age, and now we're transitioning to the like, here's the really dark ones, here's the like real fucked up ones.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll end it on a like a movement upwards, but not a like the world will be better. Just a like, because I think the narrative arc is going to be, the first ones were like, even if you change a couple things, it can still work out, but it's gonna be it's a lesser more. It is like Captain Carter is better than the than the Captain America we have, but the world that Fury created sucks ass.
Mm-hmm.
Or like we don't know what's gonna happen next. Then we have the second one was T'Challa.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a hard like, no, the entire world's actually way better, except for this thing that's going to fuck up absolutely everything and destroy the entire universe.
Maybe.
And now we're getting into the big like, here's the deep darkness. And so I think it would be good narratively for the Watcher to end us on a hard like something like even if all the heroes got wiped out, the villains would like step up and save everyone.
I think the last one's definitely going to be tying into something else.
Okay.
Like, what if blank, and then, you'll see the consequences of this eventually. And again, that could be everybody going, it's going to show up Multiverse of Madness, or it's going to show up in this thing. And then they go the big, and now we're concluding it in season 2 of What If.
Oh no! No, I don't want anything to do that besides Loki, and I don't want Loki to do it. I'm just saying that because, it already did it. I don't want anything else to do that.
I hated it, but...
I hate it. Especially for What If!
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna end it on a hard, like, light arc, dark arc, and then, like, things will be okay arc for the last 1 or 2 or 3.
Okay.
A, like, even if things go super off course, don't worry, someone's gonna be able to save it.
Mm-hmm. Here's some guesses I'll throw out.
Mm-hmm.
What if Tony never called on Spider-Man in Civil War? Like, I would phrase that more like, what if Spider-Man never got involved in Civil War?
Okay.
Just what would his hero trajectory have been if he never got involved with the Avengers?
Okay.
Like, where would that have gone?
Yeah.
Then maybe like I had another one idea, but now I'm blanking on it. Oh, what, like, I'm not sure how I would phrase it, but like, what if the Kree-Skrull War did happen?
Okay.
What if Carol never got involved?
Mm-hmm.
Like, something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are 2 that I think would be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to throw a guess at, or we're just done here?
I'm gonna guess that one is, what if Project Insight never got derailed? Like, for a super dark timeline.
Okay, I'm not sure if there's much interesting stuff to be done there, but maybe. I feel like that you want a hero name in the title.
True.
I think that's a big one, which is also like why, like, I'm not sure they would do Kree-Skrull War. Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
you'd have to phrase it as something involving Captain Marvel
Yeah.
or something.
So yeah, I think the one I have the most maybe about is what if Spider-Man never got involved with the Avengers?
Okay.
Or just like what if Spider-Man wasn't an Avenger?
But yeah, I don't have a good guess really.
Okay, it's hard to come up with these. I never would have guessed what if Dr. Strange lost his heart instead of his hands.
Yeah. But I do really like that title now, like having seen the episode. Fair enough.
I don't like it because it feels way more like the evil Doctor Strange, whatever, has way more heart than the original Doctor. Like, he's doing it
Yeah.
all for a very heartfelt, emotional reason.
True.
Rather than the other one is doing it for a very logical, this is what the rulebook says reason.
Yeah, if they gave him a little more bad brain, it could have been, what if Doctor Strange lost his mind instead of his hands?
Yeah, I think that would be a better way to phrase this. I mean, just even as it is already.
True.
I think it would be much better to do what if Doctor Strange lost his mind instead of his hands.
Yeah, because that plays way more into the reason why this is bad. Like, the reason why it's bad is because he's risking the universe for this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the clear, like, you've passed the line. But it's not the, like, you've lost your mind because you're trying to save the person you care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, the wrong part of it's being stressed.
And just still don't know. My mind's just on the two timelines in one universe. What does that mean?
Timelines, one universe.
What does that mean? Okay, we're done here. We're gonna break our brains thinking about this.
Yeah, I guess we'll just see what comes next.
Until then, get the fuck out of here.